Greetings everyone, and welcome to yet another installment of my PS2 games collection overview. So today we're going to take a look at some science fiction. Yeah, I got some cool sci-fi games, just kind of a variety of stuff actually. Got, what do we got here? We got like a racing game, we got some shooters, got a couple things based on movies, got some anime-inspired stuff, and a whole lot more. And by a whole lot more, I mean there's two others in addition to those. Anyway, let's take a look. Sci-fi stuff on the PS2 today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. Alrighty, let's take a look at what kind of sci-fi adventures await on the PS2. Alright, let's check out some Sci-Fi. First up, we got some classic thumb-melting shoot-'em-up action with Sylphy, the Lost Planet. Now, this is, if memory serves, actually the third Sylphy game in a long history of Sylphy games with long gaps of time between each one. The original Sylphy appeared on the PC many moons ago, just a straightforward shooter, good times. My introduction to the world of Sylphy was actually on the Sega CD. Yes, I believe I do have a playthrough of it somewhere in the archives. I'll probably throw that up as a Multimedia Chronicles retro episode at some point. But yeah, great stuff. Just, good old-fashioned bullet hell shooter action with some cool 3D backdrops. Now, the original Sylphy was basically a rail shooter. Well, when I say the original, I mean the Sega CD version. It was a rail shooter with, at the time, pretty cool 3D graphics. It was all textureless, polygon-based graphics. This is considerably more advanced in terms of the visuals, of course. Look at that beautiful shininess there. Can you see that? I don't know how well you can see that. It's all glossy. I should mention also, this is one of the earlier PS2 games that actually comes on a purple disc. Yeah, kind of strange. Essentially, it's actually a CD-ROM. It's not a DVD. So yeah. Anyway, but if we take a look here, we've got this beautiful full-color manual. Look at all that information in there, displayed visually. Beautiful colors. You can see. Yeah, it's basically another rail shooter, but really good times. If you enjoy a good rail shooter, you can't go wrong with Sylphy. It's one of the all-time classics. If you can track down the original Sega CD version as well, definitely check that out. I loved the soundtrack in that, and good times. So I couldn't resist picking this up just because I loved the Sega CD version so much. And I don't know how well you can see, but the cover is all shiny as well. It's kind of like metallic shininess. It's hard to pick up because of the glare, but you kind of get the idea. Anyway, very cool stuff. Love me some Sylphy. It's tough. It's definitely one of the harder shooters out there for consoles, but definitely worth checking out if you enjoy that genre. So here we go. This is one I haven't really played very much. I picked it up just because I thought it sounded interesting. We have Project Eden. Yeah, so this is basically, the world is overpopulated, and you play, a four-member team of specialists, and you just kind of, uncover this mystery and adventure and stuff like that. So it's got, some adventure aspects to it, some puzzle-solving aspects to it, some action aspects to it. But pretty cool, and apparently from the creators of Tomb Raider 1 and 2, so there you go. How can you go wrong? But, yeah, so Project Eden, very cool. Basically some end-of-the-world sci-fi stuff. There we go. Just get no color this time, but you get an idea of how it all works there. So, much like other team-based games, you use the abilities of the different members to accomplish different things, and it's all about the teamwork and working together and blah blah blah. So anyway, Project Eden, cool stuff. I don't know if that's actually what the color scheme was like, or if it was faded in the sun. I think it was faded in the sun, because if you look at the spine, it's a little bit darker than the cover. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Pretty cool. Next up we have... Now, as you know, I'm not big into sports games. However, I do enjoy racing games. Go figure. And you mix racing games with sci-fi. Sign me up, man. I give you Kinetica. Yes, I love Kinetica. Such an underappreciated game. I never hear anybody talking about this. But basically, think kind of like Wipeout. However, instead of being in a vehicle, you are the vehicle. You're not a transformer or anything. You're like a person, but you're in this vehicle suit, and that's what you use to race around. And it's not just a straight ahead track either, no, because these are like, I guess, magnetic or something, so they can actually travel up walls and along ceilings and stuff like that. And you can do tricks because it's you in a bodysuit. You can actually do tricks, kind of like, SSX or something like that, except it's a racing game. So you do tricks, you get more points, you get upgrades and stuff like that, and it is just a blast. And also has just a ripping techno soundtrack, which just gets your blood pumping. It is such a good game. I just played the crap out of this. Oh, we actually have an art book with it too. Cool, I'd completely forgotten about that. So here we go. We got lovely full color manual. Info about the music, which is pretty cool. Yeah, this is something you don't get in manuals anymore either, like full credits. Like, for example, if it's one of the cinematic sequences, you'll see who the voice actors were and stuff like that. I really miss that. You just don't see that anymore. So it's kind of depressing. But, yeah, all very colorful. Really feels like, futuristic racing manual. But you can see there, like, for example, there's the character, and then you can see the wheels on the feet. So, yeah, you just kind of go down, and then there's him and her, and yeah, there's all kinds of... Look at that, there's wheels everywhere. Yeah, awesome. Love this game. Let's take a look at the art book, actually. So here we got... Oh, there we go. Ava. Oh, we get character profiles. Okay. Got Sarah. Vigor. Zia, Xenon, Razzo, Seba. Seba. Needless to say, different characters have different strengths and weaknesses. It very much plays into that. Crank. So, like, the big beefy guys can take a lot more punishment, but don't go as fast. The nimble women and nimble men are able to go a lot faster and do sort of more complex acrobatics and stuff. And then we have Grek. Is it Grek? Yes, Grek. There you go. So, pretty cool. That's also something you don't see very often. Occasionally, you'll get an art book. And there we wrap around cover. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, so I cannot possibly recommend Kinetica highly enough if you like, even if you're not particularly into racing games, if you just like the kind of games where you do a lot of tricks and stuff to get points, and you like your action fast and frenetic, pick this up if you can find it. I don't know how many platforms it came out for. I think it was actually it was a Sony exclusive. But yeah, come on, Sony, let's get this into the PSN or dare I hope a high def upgrade. Like, come on, this game deserves its time in the spotlight again. We need to make that happen. What else we got here? What else we got? Well, a couple based on movies. We have The Terminator: Dawn of Fate. So this kind of presents a prequel story, kind of leading up to the events of the first movie. It takes place entirely in the future world. As a Terminator fan, I actually really enjoyed the story of this. The only thing I found a little bit tetchy was honestly the camera. The camera in this is oft-times terrible. It'd be fun. I remember in particular one level where I was in a parkade going down a ramp, and there were pillars at various points, and there'd be Terminators coming at me, and it would get to a point where the Terminator would be shooting at me, but my view was behind a pillar, and I couldn't move because I was pinned down, and it's just... yeah, a lot of view being obscured by stupid things in the foreground. Now, one of the things you can unlock in this is actually a first-person mode, so you can actually play the whole thing in first person, which I imagine would play out a lot better. But if you're a Terminator fan, honestly, it's not bad. Just some minor technical issues with the camera. But in terms of the story and the action, it's definitely fun. I definitely recommend it. Just don't expect the greatest Terminator game ever. But it will satisfy you if you're a Terminator fan. And you play as Kyle Reese, actually. So there you go. So all kinds of stuff there. Very nice, once again, full-color manual. I love the full-color manuals. Very cool. You can do hand-to-hand combat with the Terminators in this, too, which is something you don't see in the movies, really, ever. Well, not much, anyway. Not between humans and Terminators, anyway. Terminators versus Terminators, sure. Like, T-1000 versus T-800. So, here we... Nice, shiny, metallic cover as well. Actually, not on the back, but on the front, nice, shiny, metallic cover. I don't know how well that's picking up. You can kind of see... Yeah, very, very nice stuff. And next up we have Enter the Matrix. And before anyone asks, no, sadly, I have never managed to get my hands on the Path of Neo, which is the other Matrix game. Kept meaning to grab it, kept putting it off, and now, of course, you can't find PS2 games anywhere except online. So maybe one of these days. But for now, this is the only Matrix game I've got, sorry to say. So this was the first big Matrix game, and the cool thing about this actually is the story was written and directed by the Wachowski brothers, and actually is a parallel story to the events of the second movie. So it actually tells, and it's canon to the second movie. So this story is actually canon to the Matrix saga, and it tells a side story with Niobe and Ghost. And basically their efforts to retrieve the message dropped by the Osiris, from the Animatrix film Last Flight of the Osiris. So in the Last Flight of the Osiris, we see them drop off the message in the Matrix. This is the story of them retrieving that message to bring it back to Zion and let them know what's going on. Basically, what the message is letting them know that the machines are digging, trying to get their way down to Zion to destroy everybody. So anyway, this is the mission. This is the mission that retrieved that message, and you get to play as both of them. So pretty cool. A very pivotal moment in the story. So here we got Matrix Reloaded, merchandise, and stuff like that. So needless to say, lots of Matrix-y stuff. Now in terms of the gameplay, it's honestly pretty average. There's nothing really standout about it. The environments are honestly kind of repetitive and bland, but it's cool to play just for the story, and you do get to do some cool, bullet time moves and stuff like that. They call them focus moves here, but we all know it's bullet time. Come on, that's what we call it. But yeah, so you do get there is some cool stuff in here, certainly to delight Matrix fans. I still have not actually played it all the way through. I've seen most of the cinematic sequences from it, though, because they were in an extra. They were in amongst the extras on the Ultimate Matrix box set collection. Yeah, they just gave you all the cinematics. So, I mean, with the cinematics, you get most of the story of this, but you're still missing out some stuff because some of the story does play out within the game itself. So, the cinematics will give you the gist of it, but you'll be getting an incomplete story. So, play the game. Get the whole story. All right, there you go. I don't care what anybody says. I loved all three Matrix movies. Next up, we have Zone of the Enders from Hideo Kojima, the creator of Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, and this actually is the original release that has the demo of Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, in fact. We'll just open it up in a moment here, and again, I think that's why a lot of people bought this game, was just to play the Metal Gear Solid 2 demo, which of course was infamously misleading, because in the demo you play as Solid Snake. In the actual game, Solid Snake's only in the first part of it, and then it shows up again later towards the end. But yeah, so a lot of people played the demo. It's like, oh, it's gonna be awesome, Snake is back, and then they did the old switcheroo with Raiden, of course, which we all know what happened there. But yeah, so anyway, Zone of the Enders is just a terrific, fun, basically a mech combat game. Oh, I see. It's actually 2 manuals. You actually have a manual for the Metal Gear demo as well. So we'll look at the Zone of the Enders part first. So, more or less full color. They didn't really make the full range of colors there. But the cool thing about this was it was the first mech combat game, really, to use the sort of nimble, high-speed mechs that you see in a lot of anime, like Gundam and stuff like that. Previously, it was more sort of the BattleTech style, where it'd be all, big and lumbering and slow-moving, but really powerful. Stuff like Armored Core and things like that. But this was the first time we really got ones that felt like they could have just stepped right out of an anime. And pretty cool stuff. I played this through a few times. Honestly, the cinematic sequences, like the story, was kind of so-so, but the combat action more than made up for it, and stuff like that. And I really enjoyed this a lot. Now, I never did get around to picking up the second one, which is called Zone of the Enders: The Second Runner. I really wanted to, though, because for the cinematic sequences, whereas here they are pre-rendered 3D animation. In the second, sorry, just checking the time. In the second runner, they were actually full-blown anime sequences. Like, they did new anime specifically for this. There was an anime series as well, like an OVA series of Zone of the Enders as well, which I've never seen. I'd really like to check that out at some point. So I never got Zone of the Enders: The Second Runner. Alas. Until I got this. Surprise! Yeah, so I actually did pick up the HD remastered version of Zone of the Enders. We'll take a closer look at this when we get to the PS3 section, but for now, this is the limited edition version. Basically, the only difference is it contains the HD remastered versions of Zone of the Enders and Zone of the Enders 2. Now, before anyone says anything, it contains that and an art book in this oversized packaging. So quite cool. Now, before anyone says anything, yeah, I know when it first came out, there were some frame rate issues and some glitch issues. Those have long since been fixed, so you don't need to worry about that. If you see this kicking around cheap, get it. You will not be disappointed. I played through all of the first one and a good chunk of the second one, and I didn't really see any issues with it. I mean, a little bit of slowdown here and there, but I think that's just because there's so much bloody action on screen. It's pretty much inevitable. But yeah, I love Zone of the Enders. Great stuff. Good fun. I wish, I'd love to see like a Macross game or a Robotech game or something that uses this style of combat with the high-speed mechs and everything. Something like right out of the show. Last but not least, this isn't specifically a PS2 game. It's actually an interactive DVD based on a Laserdisc game entitled Time Traveler. No, you thought it was going to be Dragon's Lair, didn't you? There were more Laserdisc games than just Dragon's Lair, I will have you know. Although, if you're wondering, I do have... Fuck. Ow! Cramp! Ow! Although, if you're wondering, I do have Dragon's Lair, but on Blu-ray. And I also have it on the 3DO, which we'll get to when we get to it. Alrighty, so Time Traveler. Time Traveler is kind of cool. I remember when this was in arcades, they touted it as being a hologram game, but it actually wasn't a hologram game. It's just the characters, as you can sort of see here, if you look really closely. Why don't we zoom in a little bit? Yeah, you can see the characters there. It looks like they're floating in like 3D, but they're actually not. It's just a Laserdisc game. The characters would be kind of on black backgrounds, and then it would be projected onto mirrors, so they would appear to stand out from the background. So kind of cool. Let's just focus here again. I guess I could have just zoomed in because I actually have it focused up to that point. I don't know why I needed to mess around with it. Anyway, yeah, so Time Travel. So I remember playing this in the arcades, and I enjoyed Laserdisc games, and it very much has the feel of like a Dragon's Lair style game. It's short little sequences where you have to jump over something or shoot something or what have you. Now, of course, in this case, they couldn't really do it the same way they did it in the arcade because you would need the whole freaking cabinet with mirrors and stuff. However, to make up for it, they actually did do... They do have a red and blue anaglyph 3D version that you can play. Now, because the controls in this type of game are fairly straightforward, just up, down, left, right, and shoot, you can actually play this just with a regular DVD remote. You can play it on the PS3 or PS2. Well, I guess, and the PS3 because it's just a DVD. But yeah, you can just use a regular DVD remote, just using the arrow buttons and the enter key, and that's it. So yeah, but I thought it was kind of cool that they actually put this out on DVD. I at the time, wow, what a boring menu or boring instruction book. Just the cover with some text. Anyway, I never thought we'd see a home version of this because it was, oh my god, live action. And at the time that it was out, I mean, full motion video was basically a pipe dream, and was quite a ways off. And what little we did have was pretty primitive. Like, it wouldn't have been able to do the full amazing standard definition video quality of this on our home systems. But yeah, pretty cool. I've always been a sucker for Laserdisc games. I enjoy them. So whenever I see them get releases like this, I can't resist grabbing them. And this was like in the clearance bins too. I think I got it for like $3. Like they pretty much couldn't give them away. I think because not very many people had actually heard of it. I mean, this was nowhere near as high profile as Dragon's Lair, which has been in the public eye for decades now. But yeah, this was very much an offshoot of that same technology. Used a Laserdisc player for the video, and just presented it in a different way, so it appeared as though it was holographic. This DVD edition is actually pretty cool because it actually does feature some news stories and stuff, and some behind-the-scenes stuff about how it was promoted, and some sort of press kit type stuff as well. So there's a bunch of cool extras on there to sort of give you an idea of how it was marketed and give you a look at what it looked like in arcades and stuff like that. So pretty cool stuff. So well, and in terms of the story, you're basically a cowboy going through time, and that's pretty much it in the story, hence time traveler. But yeah, so there you go, some awesome sci-fi action on Le PS2. So there you go, pretty nice. Let's hold them right side up. There we go. Pretty nice selection of stuff. Yeah, I got some outer space and inner space and apocalypse and whatever. Good stuff. Love sci-fi. I'm a big geek. Always have been. Always will be. Alrighty, that is it for this installment. Hope you enjoyed it. Just like to take a moment to thank my Patreon sponsors. Big thanks to Kyle Pellegrini, who's currently one of my highest level sponsors. Thank you very much, dude. Really appreciate it. And thanks to everybody else as well. Please do consider becoming a sponsor, because that all goes straight back into the show, allowing me to pick up more awesome stuff like this and do more awesome videos like this. All for you. Alrighty, that is it from me to you for now. So until next time, thanks for watching, and sayonara. Welcome back. Alrighty, let's take a look and see what kind of science fiction adventures.